Hello all, I'm Ritin Wadekar and I welcome you to my channel. Now introducing the topic, the FATF plenary which met on 22nd February 2021 has examined Pakistan's compliance with the remaining 6 terms out of 27-point action plan to curb terror financing. While Pakistan remains in the grey list, it hoped that the Paris-based terror watchdog would allow an on-site evaluation which it can use to convince the member states that it has done enough to get its name off the grey list. So a basic question arises that what is FATF or the Financial Action Task Force and what impact does it have on Pakistan? But before we begin, let me briefly introduce myself. As I said, my name is Ritin Warigar. I'm 20 years old and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in engineering. I created this channel because I'm passionate about current affairs and what's going on around the globe, and I want to share this knowledge through the medium of YouTube. The aim of this channel is to provide its audience genuine and concise content. So, jumping back to the topic, the FATF is a money laundering and a terrorist financing watchdog. This intergovernmental body sets up international standards which help to prevent these illegal activities and the harm they cause to the society. As a policy making body, the FATF works to generate a necessary political will to bring about national legislative and regulatory reforms in these areas. The FATF was established in July 1989 by the G7 countries in Paris, initially to examine and combat money laundering. But in October 2001, it expanded its mandate to incorporate efforts to combat terrorist financing in addition to money laundering. Its exact objective is to set standards and promote effective implementation of legal, regulatory, and operative measures for combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and other related threats to the integrity of the international financial system. Speaking about the permanent members, there are 37 member jurisdictions and 2 regional organizations in the FATF representing most major financial centers in the world. Some prominent and important members of the FATF include Australia, Brazil, China, Canada, Russia, France, Germany, India, Israel, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, and the United States. The 2 regional organizations include the Gulf Cooperation Council and the European Commission. Now, the FATF has 2 types of lists to punish countries, namely the grey list and the black list. Countries that are supporting money laundering and terrorist financing activities are placed in the black list. For example, Iran and everyone's favorite, North Korea. Now, only those countries which are considered safe havens for activities like money laundering and terrorist financing are placed in the grey list. But inclusion in the grey list is not as severe as the black list. The economic impacts on getting grey listed are: number 1, economic sanctions from important international bodies such as IMF and the World Bank. Number 2, difficulty in getting loan from international bodies. Number 3, reduced trade. And number 4, international boycott. The impacts are even more severe if a country gets into the blacklist. Pakistan was placed in the grey list in June 2018 for failing to put effective measures on money laundering and terrorist financing in the country. Pakistan's collusion in the Pulwama terrorist attack was recently accepted by the Science and Technology Minister Fawad Chaudhry on the floor of his National Assembly. It was one of the deadliest attacks in decades, where 40 Indian paramilitary men were killed in Jammu and Kashmir on 14th Feb 2019 by a suicide bomber of Pakistan-based terrorist group Jaish-e-Mohammed. Pakistan's policy to create and foster terrorist groups to engage in low-intensity conflicts in the neighborhood can be traced back to the 1980s. Since then, India and Afghanistan has been facing the brunt of Pakistan's state-sponsored cross-border terrorism. There exists a well-established nexus between Pakistan's civilian government, military, the inter-services intelligence, which is also known as ISI, and a number of terrorist groups trained and armed in the country. For over several decades, Pakistan has been recruiting, equipping, financing, and helping terrorists infiltrate across the line of control. The number of terrorist groups include Al Qaeda, Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Sangvi, and the Harkat-ul-Mujahideen. And the terrorist attacks on India include the Parliament attack in 2001, the attack on Akshardham Temple in 2002, the Mumbai attacks in 2008, the Pathankot attack on 2000 in 2016, the Uri attack in 2016, and finally the Pulwama attack in 2019. Pakistan's support for terrorism is so deeply entrenched in the society that Prime Minister Imran Khan refers to Osama bin Laden, the world's most dangerous terrorist and mastermind of 9/11 attacks, by calling him a martyr while addressing the National Assembly. In 2019, he publicly acknowledged that the country harbors 30,000 to 40,000 terrorists trained and fought in various parts of Afghanistan and Jammu and Kashmir. Now, according to the estimates by the Pakistani government, the FATF grey listing of Pakistan is causing them a damage of around $10 billion. Now, before the pandemic, Pakistan's GDP was estimated to grow at 3.3% in 2020 and 2.4% in 2021, its lowest in decade. But after the pandemic, the World Bank expected it to be between minus 1.3% and 2.2%, struggling with a double digit inflation of about 13% and a budget deficit of about 9%. Pakistan would have to grow in double digits to cover up all these, which is next to impossible. In layman terms, the country will continue to get poorer and deeper in debt as it borrows more and more to meet its expenditure. And Pakistan's consistency on being in the grey list will make the matter much worse. 100% compliance with the FATF's action plan is the only solution to get Pakistan out of the grey list, but it doesn't guarantee whether or not it will get placed back in the grey list or even get blacklisted due to its rising radicalization. So, the only permanent solution for Pakistan is to control and eradicate terrorism in the country. So, that's it for this video. If you want to share your thoughts, please do it in the comment section below. And if you find this video informative, then please share this video. And if you want to support me, then please do by liking and subscribing to my channel. Till then, goodbye, and I'll meet you in the next video.